The workers who built the pyramids were paid in beer. Seriously. For a long time, people believed slaves built the pyramids, but that's a myth. They were actually skilled, paid workers, and part of their payment? Beer. Each worker received around 4 to 5 liters of beer every day. It wasn't just for fun. The beer was thick, nutritious, and full of calories, almost like liquid bread. It kept them strong, hydrated, and fed during the brutal desert heat. Beer was so valuable, it was used as currency across ancient Egypt. So the greatest monuments in human history were built by workers powered by beer. Not a bad deal, honestly. Ancient Egyptians invented toothpaste over 4,000 years ago, and it was better than you'd think. Long before modern dentists, Egyptians cared deeply about clean teeth. They created a toothpaste using crushed eggshells, ground ox hooves, and ashes. Later versions even included mint and salt for fresh breath. They would rub it on their teeth with their fingers or a small twig. And it actually worked. It cleaned teeth and freshened breath. In fact, their recipe was so good, modern scientists were impressed when they found it. Egyptians also invented breath mints, makeup, and even early deodorant. So the next time you brush your teeth, thank the ancient Egyptians.
Cleopatra bathed in milk and honey every single day. And it actually worked. The Queen of Egypt was famous for her beauty. And she had a secret. Every day, she filled her bath with donkey milk and honey. It took around 700 donkeys to supply enough milk for her baths. But this wasn't just luxury. There was real science behind it. The lactic acid in milk gently removes dead skin, and honey locks in moisture. It was an ancient version of a modern skincare treatment. So while everyone admired her beauty, Cleopatra was secretly using chemistry. A beauty routine so effective. People still talk about it 2,000 years later. Ancient Egyptians worshipped a beetle that rolls animal dung. And there's a beautiful reason why. It was called the scarab beetle. And to the Egyptians, it was sacred. The beetle would roll a ball of dung across the ground, then lay its eggs inside. Days later, new life would crawl out of the ball. To the Egyptians, this looked like life coming from nothing, a symbol of rebirth. They connected it to the sun god, who they believed rolled the sun across the sky each day. So they wore scarab amulets for protection and good luck. They even placed large stone scarabs inside tombs to guide the dead into the afterlife. A simple beetle became one of the most powerful symbols in all of ancient Egypt. The first pregnancy test was invented in ancient Egypt, and it actually worked. 3,500 years ago, Egyptian women had a clever way to know if they were pregnant. They would urinate on bags of wheat and barley seeds every day. If the seeds sprouted, she was pregnant. Sounds like nonsense, right? But here's the shocking part. In the 1960s, scientists actually tested this method, and it worked 70% of the time. A pregnant woman's urine contains hormones that make seeds grow faster. The ancient Egyptians figured out something that took the modern world thousands of years to understand. One of Egypt's greatest pharaohs was a woman who wore a fake beard and ruled as a king. Her name was Hatshepsut, and she took the throne over 3,000 years ago. But there was a problem. Egypt had almost never been ruled by a woman. So she made a bold move. She had herself shown as a man. In statues and paintings, she wore the traditional false beard of a pharaoh. It wasn't about hiding she was a woman. Everyone knew. It was about power and tradition. And it worked. She ruled for over 20 years, and Egypt grew rich and peaceful. But after her death, someone tried to erase her from history. Yet, she was too great to be forgotten. Today, we know her as one of Egypt's most powerful rulers.